was gonna say an incel learning to love, a bit of a romance fantasy sandwich. Welcome to Crocheting a Book Snake for 2026. In 2025, I came across this pattern for a book snake. It was a knit pattern, and I felt inspired to do that, but I thought it'd be fun to crochet as the year went on. Since I couldn't find a crochet pattern for a book snake, that was what I was looking for. I will be adapting this pattern for a temperature snake. And I got all of my yarn secondhand for this project, which is pretty exciting. So for the base color, I was trying to decide between a clean white or an off-white / cream color. I thought the colors would really pop against the clean white, but in the end I decided on the cream color just because I felt like it would be cuter with the other colors I chose. So this is my book snake key. As you can see here, I have pink for romance, orange for nonfiction, yellow for thriller, light teal for fantasy, light green for sci-fi, and dark teal for other. Nonfiction includes memoirs, and I'm actually currently reading a memoir called Sociopath, which is really good. So here we have our finished snake head, which is the start of this project. The polyfill is secondhand. I have a lot of it. This came with a secondhand crochet kit. And then the eyes are the only thing that's firsthand. This part of the snake will be January, and then we will end at December, and I will continue adding to this throughout the year. So I'm going to do my books from January, February, March. So I'm going to pull up my chart where I track my reading. So far we have 2 romances, 1 nonfiction, 1 fantasy, and 1 thriller. So the books we have so far are The Undercutting of Rosie and Adam by Megan Bannon, a romance, Dreadful by Caitlin Rozakis, fantasy, Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez, romance, The Midnight Feast by Lucy Foley, thriller, and Let This Radicalize You by Kelly Hayes and Mariam Kaba, nonfiction. I'm using a 3.75 millimeter hook. Oh, I have everything but my pink. I guess my pink is my only color that's not secondhand, but it is leftover. What's going on here? Yeek, we're gonna get rid of that.
A few moments later.
The Undercutting of Rosie and Adam is part of a book series by Megan Bannon. It's set in a fantasy world, but it is definitely something I'd categorize as romance, maybe romantasy, but definitely heavy on the love story, which was very sweet. The author does something fun where you get glimpses of the couples from her other books in the series, in each following book, and how the other characters and couples are growing up and living their lives and so on. And there's dragons, which is always a win. There be dragons. And there we have most of our first row done. I do the YouTuber thing. So now we're using light teal for fantasy. The next book is Dreadful by Caitlin Rozakis. It wasn't my favorite book, but I did enjoy it. It was a bit of a fantasy spin on the perspective of an incel. I was gonna say an incel learning to love. Maybe the perspective of an incel learning to think about life differently. So next we have romance again, a bit of a romance fantasy sandwich. The next book is Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. I enjoyed it. There was definitely more to it than I knew going into it, as I hadn't read this author before. A lot of like identity exploration and exploration around themes of trauma and growing up with trauma. So it was really good. I rated it as a book that I loved because I was really rooting for the characters. So, this yellow row is for The Midnight Feast by Lucy Foley, which I really enjoyed. I read a lot of her last year as well. Um, this thriller incorporates some folkloric and nature elements, which I really enjoyed. So, our last row is orange for nonfiction. This last row is for Let This Radicalize You by Kelly Hayes and Miriam Kaba. Would highly recommend. I loved this book. I learned so much, particularly if you're interested in learning more about social justice organizing work, mutual aid. It touches on things like environmentalism, um, fighting against racism and other forms of bigotry. I think my mic just died. If there's any sound working, we will be back next month or in a few months to add some more rows.